All right, guys, let's go ahead and hit this Paige O'Connell situation. So before, I know some of you are going to ask or comment about it. No, I'm not necessarily a Red Sox fan, but this is my son's little league team. So this is me representing. We're about to start a game here. But for those of you who haven't seen, Paige O'Connell is going viral right now, and not for good reasons. She is a woman who has taken to the internet. She has she's like an influencer whose mission is to make an awareness of women's mental load. Now, it's disappointing that she is such kind of a vile woman as far as her delivery, because if mental load is a real thing, and it was a video, ironically, with this timing, I was going to actually talk about to you guys, but now she's kind of tainted it. So let's go ahead and talk about why Paige is coming across just so horrifically. This is a woman who I actually really identify a lot with. She is a very business driven mindset type of woman. She's married 15 years. I'm also a very business minded person. She has 4 kids. I have 4 kids. So I kind of like get where she's coming from as far as, trying to, kind of have it all. Her children are much younger than mine. I have 2 adult sons who are up and grown. So I have 11-year-old twins. But she works from home full time. Her husband is a lineman. And she has this whole page about this mental load. And so she talks a lot about her husband, and many men say that that's disrespectful. But my notion is like, you know what? Her husband knows about the page. So he must not be too concerned about it. But I also kind of share the same kind of difficulty, because my page is all about teaching men and women how to have really amazing marriages. And some of the stories that I tell don't make my husband in the best light. And I do my best, I really do my best to make myself always look like the bad person instead of him. And I'm always very, very thoughtful in my delivery of my stories, to make him seem to be like much more of a saint than he actually is. But so mental load for women is really a real thing. Her delivery is awful, but I think that sometimes we have to kind of set aside the messenger. A lot of times people say the same thing about like a Andrew Tate or a Trump. I really try to take away the messenger from the message, which can be that mental load is a really big deal for women. But this woman comes about so kind of self-centered that and she just talks about wanting everything to be equitable. Now, guys, if you ever hear a woman talk about equitable stuff in your house, just run. This is a woman who will never be happy, because what she's doing is she's taking every single aspect of the relationship and she is keeping tracks, and she is making sure that every little box is equal. This is a woman who's never going to be happy. I'm just going to tell you right there. But so this is a woman who instead of she has 4 young children. They look young, around 5, 6, 7, whatever. She's in the thick of it, you guys. She's really in the thick. So it is normal for women who have young children. Mental load is a real obstacle for moms to feel overwhelmed with, and I get that. But instead of deciding that, hey, you know what? I know I want to still work. Why I think the better thing to do, instead of pointing the finger at like, this is your fault, husband, that you're not doing it enough. And I'm feeling stressed because you're not pulling the weight I think you should be pulling. Instead of pointing the finger at her husband, why isn't she pointing it at herself? Saying, you know what? I chose to have these 4 kids. I knew they were going to require a lot of attention, and a lot of dedication, and I need to scale back on working and work part-time. It appears that she doesn't need to work, that she works mainly to pay for childcare, despite the fact she works from home. It makes no sense. She has a nanny during the times when she's also working from home. It is tough, guys. It is really tough when my kids are on any of these breaks, they flat get ignored. I do think that I understand her plight there. That some, at least if a nanny is there, then at least they'll have some attention, especially at that age. My kids are older and they're not needing so much one-on-one attention. But I really do think this woman is operating so much on a me, and egocentric type of mindset. She cannot see at all beyond herself. She cannot say, I need to taper back for a point in time, because it's not, I would never in a million years. She says that she makes breakfast and lunch for the kids. Well, does she, or does the nanny do it? And then she's like, so her husband cooks dinner every night. I would never in a million years expect my husband to be gone all day doing line work. Physically, very dangerous, very labor intensive, and then come home and every single night have him cook dinner. That, I hate cooking, and I wouldn't even do that. So I think that this is absolutely just so egregious. And another thing that I think is a huge red flag, and maybe, hopefully you guys don't do this, is she calls her husband her partner. Anytime a woman calls her husband a partner, that's, oh, you're walking into some trouble there. So I think overall, this woman is completely taking on the leadership role. She is the man in the relationship. She wears the pants. And anytime you have this kind of situation, this guy is so henpecked. I'm just feeling so awful for him. But it seems to be working. It seems to be working for them in the short term. But I don't think that long term that this guy, I don't know if he chose to have children with a woman who is so just masculine in her frame. And it's difficult for me as a woman who can identify with so much of her plights to try to defend her, because her approach is just so awful. There's the lack of self-awareness is just not where it needs to be. So no, I'm in the same situation as her. I take on 90% of the household tasks, because when my husband gets home, I want him to have the opportunity to relax, because I like being busy. He needs more time to relax. I'm aware that he needs more time to relax. And also because I want him to have the time to hang out with the kids. I think that's important. He's been gone all day. I don't want him having to do the dishes. No, I'd rather just have that done and have dinner ready to go when he walks in the door. And so we can all hang out together. I'm sorry. I can't defend this woman. That's all I have to say.